The name of that song is titled Lost Soul, and it is sang and written by my guest artist today, Robbin Kapsalis.
Hey
Robbin,
there.
thank you so much for joining me today on the Friday afternoon music mix.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I have just gotten the biggest kick. Your radio promoter, Michelle, sent me your album, and I had not heard of you before. And I put that
Oh.
on, and I went, "Oh my God!" And my listeners have just really gotten a kick out of it too. And so I probably have played, I think, every single song on there at least once, and some of them a couple of
Wow.
times. Get good feedback every time I do. The name of Robbin's new album, and by the way, it's titled Robbin Kapsalis and Vintage 18. And I got to ask you, where did the name Vintage 18 come from?
Wow, that's a really good story, between myself and our guitar player, Bill Holter. And when we started, the name of the band was the Robbin Kapsalis Band. I didn't like that. I said, no, no, let's do something different. And I went home and started brainstorming about what we were doing with the music. We like that throwback sound and all. And I thought, okay, vintage kind of fits in there. And there's a story in there with my guitar player in number 18 from a guitar show. So I put all that together, came back to my picky band and said, what do you think about vintage number 18? And they said, well, do we have to write out number? I was like, no, we're going to put a hashtag in there and just kind of see how that works. And that's how, literally, that is how we came up with vintage number 18.
That's a great story. I like that. I like that a lot. And we should mention that you've got a great trio that backs you up. I mean,
Thank
watching these
you.
videos and listening to the music, you mentioned Bill Holter on the guitar, and then there's
Yes.
Alex Coldell on the drums, Mark Chandler is on the bass, and then I see that the horn parts were arranged by Ron Holloway, who's a well-known sax player with
Oh, yes.
oh yeah, Government Mule, Tedeschi Trucks Band, la da 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 da. The list goes on, and you brought in Thomas Williams and Vince McCool to play trumpet, which they just a fabulous job on. It sounds like you got the Memphis horn section backing you up. It's really
It
good.
was it was amazing. And the way Ron works, he didn't want to hear the music ahead of time. I mean, this guy, oh, Ron is so creative. He says, nope, let's just go to the studio. We're going to work it out in there. Okay. So we played the song and boom, he played a riff. How about that? I said, I like it. He goes, I could do better. Came up with another one. And next thing you know, he's writing the horn parts, sax and trumpet for Lost Souls. And then he plays it back, he and Tom. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I love it. Beautiful way he works. Just to sit there and watch it all unfold and listen and like, hearing the playbacks, mesmerized. I was mesmerized. I love him.
It sounds much more than just three musician, doesn't it?
Very big
Amazing
sound he
sound,
has.
very full,
Yes,
isn't it? Just
yes,
incredible.
yes, yes,
And it adds so
yes.
much. It What I really enjoy about this album, and by the way, let's mention this, the new album is titled Soul Shaker, and it was released on October the 15th of 2021 and is available at all the outlets. I was so surprised that you had picked up on this vintage soul and blues of the 60s and early 70s. You must be a real lover of that music.
I am. And I had the opportunity to open for Little Ed and the Blues Imperials. I met him when
Wow.
he performed in DC at the Hamilton. And he and his wife and his band, just the sweetest people you want to know. He is such a kind soul. I humbly knocked on his dressing room door and asked if I could come in and talk to him for a minute because I just wanted to have an audience with him and just say something. And he was so sweet. And we talked and I asked him for advice and everything. And he found out that I love covering a couple of his songs. He said, "Oh, why don't you do one tonight? Now, come on, you're opening for a band. You don't want to perform one of their songs." He requested it. So Cannonball is our favorite one, and that's the one we ended up performing. He loved it. He says, I always like to hear a band put what they think the song should sound like. And we put it on the album. It's one of our favorite tunes.
It's a great tune, Robin. It
Thank
really
you.
is. I mean, your feet are just tapping on the floor, and and then you look up and see see you with that vintage lace white dress and the white boots and the trio and the fedoras and the black suits. I mean, this is like the Blues Brothers coming on here. It's really fantastic. I mean, and I
Thank you.
understand you're responsible for that look too, from what
I
I've read.
am. I am. It's hilarious because the guys, when we first started, I wanted a look for us. I wanted us to stand out. I wanted us to have the audience in the mindset of, okay, we came to see a show. We came to see a show. So here I am. I'm wearing the white fringe dress, and I found someone to make a glass beaded dress from Thailand. I mean, they did a wonderful job, and they do all my dresses. And I told the guys, how about you guys in all black, and however you want to dress it up. And that's how we came out. We didn't know how it was going to be received, because when I look at acts like from Motown, the Temptations, when you see those acts and they're in their shark skin suits and the ladies are in their tailored dresses, they're getting ready to put on a show. There's something to be said about that, like just coming out like yes, and I feel the difference when I change into my dress and I zip up my boots. It is game time. It is on.
I
It
love
is
that.
on.
Game time. That's
It
great.
it is. I love performing. So when I zip up those boots and I get that dress on, I do feel a little tingly, and I know that there's something really special about to happen. The guys are going to do their thing, and they feel it too. We've been together. This year will be 9 years, so
So
we
that's
so
great.
so we know one another's moods and all of that. So yeah, that's how that look came about, and we have no. I don't want to change it.
That's great. And you mentioned that you've been together and you're with your group. This is the new album, Soul Shaker's your sophomore album, whereas there was a first release in 2017 called Grit, Grit.
Yes,
That entire album now is available to listen to on your wonderful YouTube channel, which is
thank
just
you.
great under Robbin Kapsalis and Vintage 18. Um, it's very comprehensive. I loved your YouTube channel. It's got all your videos on there. The the first album is there in its entirety. And you've got a great website. Let's mention that too. That's vintage18.net.
Correct. Yes.
A lot of good things on there to listen to as well. And the two albums, Soul Shaker and Grit, are both available in all the outlets. I have to tell you, Robin, that when I first listened to your voice, I was like, I wonder how old this woman is. She sounds like like Mavis with that with that
I
deep
love it.
husky voice.
I love it. Thank
Oh,
you. Thank you.
yeah. I did. I thought, my God, she sounds like she's, been out there since forever. And then when I saw when I saw your videos, I thought, my goodness, that dress and the look and everything that's in there, it just reminds me of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. I mean,
Oh my
you,
gosh.
what a wonderful performance. I saw Sharon Jones in Nashville in 2011, and it was in a large theater, but there were no seats. You just stood there, and I was
Yeah.
right in front of her, and I had never seen anything like that in my entire life. She was the female James Brown. Her feet moved like a machine gun,
Oh yes.
and just a wonderful performer. But you remind me of her. You really do.
I'm humbled to hear
Especially,
that.
oh yeah, with your voice and the dress and the way you have that band going. It's just like I said, you can't hardly keep your feet on the ground.
Thank
It's
you.
just
I'm so humbled to hear that because her performance style, her energy, and just her whole business mindset. I've never met her. I have friends who knew her, but her everything about her has inspired me, along with Tina Turner.
Oh,
They
yes.
Because to me, being on stage and what you put out to the audience, performance wise, is so important. It's so important, and that's what we started with. I didn't When I started the band, we didn't start out writing and music. We started out wanting to do something different in the DC area, and so it was important for us to look and sound, present a different look and a different sound to the audience. And so I look to all of those who came, and Sharon Jones and Tina Turner, top of the list, at the top of the list, especially for that stage presence. So when I hear people say, "Oh my gosh, you remind me of Sharon Jones," and one lady made it very clear, and I was very happy to hear this. She says, it's not that you sound like her; it's what you're doing on stage,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's like it's what you're doing, and that was very much appreciated because I love Sharon Jones. I did.
You put on a great show, as they say. There's no
Thank
doubt
you.
about it. I really enjoyed your videos, and I love your outfits. I just think it's great. And the other thing you mentioned, that in the songwriting, because there's in both of your albums, there's only one or two covers that are on there. You and your band, I understand, write all this other is original music.
Yes.
One of them that just jumped out at me, I is probably my favorite song on the album, is "You Don't Deserve Me." Oh my, oh my God, is that a great song or what? Tell
Thank
me a little bit
you.
about that.
Bill Holter came into rehearsals one Wednesday and he started playing this riff, and I was digging it. I was like, oh, I like that. So I recorded it in my phone, and I'm thinking to myself, looking through my notebook, what do I have that would work for that? I'm always writing stuff. I have sticky notes, napkins. Um, I write on the back of whatever I can that will take the ink, right? And so
Uh-huh.
I'm looking, and then I remember, oh, there's something I wrote. It's 3 a.m. I'm alone in this bed. Ain't nothing open. It was a different no. Oh, it said, grandma used to say, ain't nothing open at 2 a.m. Ain't nothing open but a bottle of gin and a pair of legs. So I had to switch it up and make it right. And then I was like, oh my goodness, who's sitting at home in bed waiting on their man? He out gallivanting around, and ooh, honey, you don't deserve me. And I just started writing. I had an adult beverage next to me, and the words just came, honey. They came. It's like, you don't deserve me. I'm a hot, loving, one of a kind, and then just came.
The lyrics are amazing, but the way you have put the song together where you stop in the middle of that song, oh my, it's like the hair went up on the back of my neck. It was like, "Oh my God, this woman's serious." It's great. Oh, and I understand you write almost all the lyrics for the music.
Yes, I do. I write the lyrics for all of our music, and Mark Chandler, our bass player, he's a very creative man, and sometimes he'll say you shouldn't do, he'll offer some really, really sound advice. Or he'll say you shouldn't do this, or why don't you try this? And I'm open with the guys. I'm open. And you have to be, because writing is so personal, and a lot of the lyrics that I write are from personal experience or about something I observed. And so, I have a thick skin, and it's cool. And I love Mark, and Mark will say, that doesn't make sense. And I'll go, why doesn't it make sense, Mark? Make it, tell me what you're thinking about. Why? We've had some really interesting conversations about why it doesn't make sense. But
You're obviously joined at the hip. It's great.
we
It
are,
is
we
great.
are.
It's super. Born in Chicago and then moved to Atlanta at 14, but I
Yes,
understand you also served in the military.
I did. 4 years, United States Navy.
You were in the Navy.
I was in the Navy. I was an operations specialist.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you for that, your service. That's great. It really is.
You're
Now you're
welcome.
DC based,
I am.
and which is, as we talked about before the interview, what a people don't think of DC as a music city, but it is a music city. It's very deep there. Blues, bluegrass, soul, everything is there. Rap,
Jazz, rap.
jazz, especially. Yeah, it's really good.
Yes, beautiful. It's the beautiful city for music, and we're so fortunate to be able. When we first started, we were able to just get out there and get our sound out there and meet all the players. It feels like a small community once we got to know everyone. But it's a great area. Call it the DMV,
Uh huh.
DC, Maryland, Virginia, and,
Yes.
and everyone's from DC. No matter where you live, you're all from DC.
I know. I spent 18 years there.
Right. So you
Yeah. Yeah,
know.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. And speaking of the DC area, you had Birdsong Records has put out Soul Shaker, but you recorded at Gizmo Studios in Silver Spring.
Yes, with Gant
And
Kushner, he did both Grit and Soul Shaker. Did a
oh, he
wonderful
did
job.
both of your albums. Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes.
You've crossed genres in this, Robin, which is just really wonderful. I mean, you've got some jazz, you've got soul, you've got one of the songs that I like real well that you talk about was Living Large. I thought that was just an amazing song.
Oh, I love that. And my brother he is in love with that song. He called me one night late. He said, "Baby girl, this song, Living Large, Living Large. I want to tell my friend you wrote that, right? You wrote that. You told me you wrote all the songs." I was like, "No, honey, I didn't write that one. That one was written by Deb Ryder." And she is prolific with her lyrics. Deb Ryder really put her foot in that one. The first time I heard it, I knew I wanted to sing that. She sent a couple songs for me to listen to, and when I heard "Living Large," I wanted to record that song, and I'm glad the feedback on it from all over has been wonderful. It's just been wonderful. But yeah.
It's incredible. It's just a
Hmm.
wonderful song. My special guest today is Robbin Kapsalis. And in looking her up, Robin is with two B's, Robbin. Kapsalis is Kapsalis. And Vintage 18 is the trio and band together. Their new album is called Soul Shaker, which was released in October 15th of 2021. Their 2017 album is available called Grit, Grit. Both of these are available at all the outlets where you can normally buy or download or steal music. And speaking of that, it's getting tough to make a living selling CDs, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Everybody's downloading now. You've kind of had to reinvent yourself, haven't you, with this whole series, especially with the pandemic coming in?
Yes. Yes. It's been a bit different, and we went from performing at least 3 to 4 times a month. We had started right before the pandemic. We had started getting outside of the area. It was great, and then the pandemic, of course, shut everyone down, and now we're I feel like we're starting to get back out there, and we've signed on with a booking agency, and so things are starting to look really, really good for us.
That's great. I see that you've kind of put a pause with the pandemic the way it is right now, but I
Mhm.
see that you're going to back on the road again, and you will be performing at Buddy Guy's Legends in Chicago on March 31st. Is when you
Mm,
kind of kick things off again. That'll be a
yes,
that'll be a fun show.
yes. I'm excited.
What a legendary performer and name on the door.
Yes. We cover one of his songs. He and Junior Wells wrote "Shake It, Baby." That song is the number one song from our album. I mean, everywhere. When we look at the reports from Michelle, it blows me away to see who's playing and how much they're playing "Shake It, Baby," performed by Junior Wells, written by Junior Wells and Buddy Guys. Beautiful. I love it. I love it.
Let's do a quick song here. You chose Silver Spoon. Let's do that real quick.
Born in Chicago, no silver spoon in my mouth. Born in
Chicago, baby, raised in the dirty South. Born in Chicago, no silver spoon in my mouth. Born in Chicago, raised in the dirty South. Robert Taylor Homes is where I lay my head. Mama made sure her 9 babies stayed fed. I was born in Chicago, no silver spoon in my mouth. Played on the south side till the street lights sent me home. Oh, you didn't live fancy, baby. Mama kept us strong. Life wasn't easy for a little ghetto girl. It's all I knew, and this was my world. I was born in Chicago, no silver spoon in my mouth. Chicken grease or lotion, food stamps low, on welfare, part of the working poor. I was born in Chicago, no silver spoon. Laid on the south side till the street lights sent me home. Oh, you didn't live fancy? Mama kept us strong. Easy for a little ghetto girl. It's all I knew, and this was my world. I was born in Chicago, no silver spoon in my mouth. Raised in the dirty South. Raised in the dirty South. I was raised in the dirty South.
Song. My special guest today, Robbin Kapsalis, when Vintage 18. Their new album is called Soul Shaker, which is their sophomore album, came out on October the 15th, 2021. Their first album called Grit from 2017. I think the future is really great, Robbin. Once this pandemic gets behind us, you're back out on the road again. People are going to see how amazing this group is. The sound is a vintage 60s soul and blues, but yet so original in its own right, which is wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's just terrific. Let me point out that Robbin has and the band have a YouTube channel, which is very comprehensive, and Grit is on there in its entirety, where you can listen to tremendous amount of videos that are wonderful, and you can get to see her and the guys dressed up in their outfits with the with the white dress and boots and the black hats and fedoras and suits. You're straight out of the 60s. I'll tell you. It's great. You've got the look and the sound. There's no question about it.
Thank
you. The website, be sure and take a look at that too. It's www.vintage18.net. Robbin, thank you so much for being on the show today. I've just been a hoot to have you here. I really enjoyed it. I hope I'll get to see you in concert sometime, and that would be really fun. And if you get up to the Seattle area when you're touring, let me know, and maybe we'll be back in the studio. We're still locked out for right now, but have you on the show. That'd be great, live.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Greg. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
It's the pleasure has been all mine. Once again, Robbin Kapsalis and Vintage 18. Let's go out with the last song. This is the one we talked about. Hold on to yourselves, fasten your seatbelts. This is called Boogaloo.